Okay, hello everyone tuning in. We are live and we're working on building our global day labor marketplace app. So feel free to ask questions as you go. We're just here building and take a look at what we have going on. All right, folks, just to give you guys an example or understanding, right now what we're doing is we're working on building a day labor marketplace app. Done a lot of shorts lately talking about how we're going to build. It's Sunday night. We're locked in. No more time to talk. No more game playing. I'm locked in. I'm focused, and we're building this app. So to be more specific, we have a real pressing business issue that we're facing. We have a new store coming online. We need to hire about 15 people in the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's not going to be easy. My business partner told me we're paying about between $120 and $150 a day, which is crazy, right? How much is that? That's like $4,000 to $5,000 that we're paying a day to sponsor ads on Indeed. So why would we do that in the day and age of AI when we can make our own solution and bring folks and we can get the talent there ourselves? So as a technical person in this business, I've been tasked to make a tool and come with a solution. So that's actually what we're working on right now. So as you're going to see, I'm about to go back to the screen. We're building an app live in real time. We spent the past few weeks getting the foundation down of how we want the app to be. We're leveraging AI, so it's not vibe code as much as it is AI assisted development. We have proper security protocols and things like that in place, but the idea is that you guys can follow along with how we build our app, and hopefully you can build your own app as well. Any questions you have, put it in the comments, ask. At the end of the day, we're locked in, razor sharp, focused, and we're going to make this app. It's going to be incredible. We're going to find team members by using it. We're going to save our business a lot of money, and you're also going to learn how to build an app as well. So getting back, let me go back to the screen share. There we go. So let's read through. Great, let's build. First, here's what's already in a prototype. Shift feed with pay showing up front on every card. Pay timing indicator. The idea behind the pay timing indicator, folks, if you haven't been following, tuning in, the idea is that people that are looking for jobs, this is a day labor marketplace app, they want to know when they're going to get paid. Same day, end of shift, within 24 hours. So that's one thing that we made sure we also included into this build as well. Shift detail page of employer rating. So the idea is that if folks come on and they use the service as a team member, as an employee, you want to be able to rate the employee, say, okay, it was a good job opportunity, yes or no. Let's see what else. Being able to ask questions before you actually show up to work, that's going to be important. A fast post to shift with one tap. So if someone just needs a job right away, an employer needs to put a job up there, that's quick. Featured and boosted listings, that's going to be a good opportunity for us to allow folks to pay to get to the front of the line. Two-way ratings, both employer and the worker. Tiered employer subscriptions, free, starter pro. We'll worry more about monetization later. Right now, we just got to get online because we got to get some team members, and team members got to get jobs. Okay, so read through this with us. As I mentioned, we have a pressing need right now, so we really need to make sure that we can. Sorry, I'm back. I'm multitasking. We got to make sure that we are actually able to not only get our core focus, which are day labor folks, we got to make sure that we're able to also get part-time and full-time people as well. So the idea behind the app is that we want to focus on day labor marketplace, but we also need to have part-time and full-time people as well. So that's one of the biggest needs. And as I mentioned before, when you're doing app development, it's a lot easier to go on in real time before you build out too much and add all the features that you need. So that's where we are right now. So let's get back to what we're doing. And all right, read along with me, folks. D costs 150 a day and worse because it already has millions. Okay, so pretty much just saying is that we're paying a lot of money, $150 a day to Indeed because it works. Let's say. And of course, we got to drive our own audience, but the idea here is that you don't get anywhere if you don't start. So we're not going to sit here and pay Indeed $150 a day indefinitely. We're going to create our own app. And that's what we're working on doing late at night on a Sunday night. Instead of eating dinner, I'm going to work on building this app because I actually love building this app and I love teaching folks as well. So folks, lock in. That's what we're doing. Make sure everything is everything. Okay. Let's go. Let's see what else. Yes, we're going to post our roles on here as well. Applicant information for employers, lightweight candidate, multi-opening post, screening questions on a post, worker job alerts, save talent pool, monetization bonus, full-time post on exactly what Indeed. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, folks. Okay. Aiden, thank you so much for letting me know my mic had run out of battery. I had to plug it back in. Can you hear me now? As a matter of fact, just to make it easier, I'm going to put on my wired mic while this charges up a little bit. Folks, my apologies. Excellent. Thank you so much. So, Aiden, just to give you an idea, we're going through. First off, thanks for being here. I hope you subscribed. We're going through, and what we're doing now is we're building out the day labor marketplace app. To give you a little background, the idea is that gig workers need to get job opportunities, but also we have a restaurant, and we're hiring about 15 people in the next few weeks. Indeed is charging my business partner who does all the HR stuff about $150 a day. That's about $4,500 a month just to get priority preference on labor within our area. So we're going through and making an app to hopefully allow us to do that for free. So let's see. What I asked, and so we're starting out prototyping within the actual Claude. We're using Claude to assist us. And I told Claude, to give you an idea, here's how the app currently looks. I think it needs to look a little bit better. Even as we build, I like to see something that looks a little bit better. So here's what they're saying and how they plan to change it up and make it look better. Let's see. Right now, the prototype blurs two very different people into one screen. In reality, you've got two apps sharing a database. So the idea is we have a worker looking for a job. We have an employer that's managing hiring. So they need two different homes, different navigation, and different emotional tones. So I have them laying out a different structure. So let's see what they come up with. Someone opens an app, they should pick. First, I'm hiring on a plan. Do you imagine most people arriving already know which side they're on? Okay. So I'm going to say, show me what you recommend. So right now we're still in planning phase. So a lot of what I'm doing here is getting them to show us what they think will be best. I have an idea and a vision of what I like to see, but right now a lot of things are up in air. And a lot of the design architecture phase is like, hey, just show me what you got. We're going to build from there. Because I have an idea that in general, we want employers to be able to come on here, quickly find candidates, candidates quickly find jobs. But I want to see what they have and kind of build off of what they're recommending as well. Excellent. So they're saying that they like a clean role select entry that routes into two distinctly branded sides, a bright opportunity forward worker experience, and a deeper dashboard style employer cockpit. I gave it a placeholder word mark, more depth, and clearer hierarchy. So it reads like a real product. Start on the welcome screen and pick a side. I like that. I like that. We'll see what they come with. But like I said, right now we're still kind of in the phase where we don't know what we don't know, and we want to make sure that we get this right the first time, because once we start actually building, like once we get past the prototype phase, we're actually having AI write code. We don't want to have to come back and make a lot of changes. So I'm totally cool with them showing us what we need in this moment. And, as that builds, we'll see. A lot of time, I don't know if you guys have done a lot of builds, but I'll tell you, there's times I spend 18 hours just getting it right. And I feel like it's better to spend a lot of time building the foundation for your app than going back repeatedly making small changes. So that's kind of where we are right now. It's the fun part. We're ideating, we're vibing. And so we're going to just let this keep running and keep doing what we're doing. But let's see what they're coming up with. Let's see what Claude, and I'm using Claude. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Gemini. I heard of Kimi K3 based out of China. You can use any AI. The biggest thing is let's make sure it's not hallucinating. As you get deeper in and the memory starts getting a little shaky, sometimes the AI will hallucinate. Luckily, we're kind of early on. We're not dealing with that just yet. But yeah, really excited about this app that we're building, grinding out, and let's see what we have going on. All right, so let me switch back to the screen and let's see what it comes up with. And let's see how much difference this looks. And I'll tell you guys, once we're done actually building this out, what we'll do is next we'll go and we'll deploy it to Vercel. Vercel is like a cloud instance, and it will actually allow us to take what we have here and put it onto a website so I can send you guys a link and we can actually play with it in real time. But like I said, right now we're just ideating, we're building, taking our time with it. You know, haven't really worked on the app that much lately, but like I said, we don't really have a choice at this point. We got to build it because we're losing money as a business every single day. All right, so let's see what we got. Okay, so let's see what side this is. All right. Okay, so now here's something that's changing. Now our first screen actually shows and it asks, okay, what are you looking for? I'm looking for work or I'm hiring. That's good. This is a big improvement on what we just had a few moments ago. So now we're coming on, okay, I'm looking for work. All right. Hey, Alex. Assume my name's Alex. 14 shifts near you right now. It shows you how many active applications you have. It shows you your current rating. Think like Uber, like how the drivers or the riders give each other ratings. It'll tell you the top picks or to recommend. It'll also allow you to browse any openings in your area so you can do a quick application. Show your current applications that you have in. The current status, whether you've been hired, applied, or contacted. So these are all great things. And I'll tell you guys, this is something to think about. As we build out this app, so right now, we're just laying out the foundation, right? But as we build it, we have to build guardrails and safeguards. So let's say, for instance, an employer hires an employee. How do we know that employee is going to show up for work? How do we know that this employer hasn't stiffed the employee or vice versa in the past? So those are things that we're going to build in as we go. Right now, we just want to get the basic structure of it, and then we'll build in those guardrails. And my thoughts are maybe we'll build in the guardrails before we write a line of code. But right now, we're just kind of working through the mental model to see how things look. So far, so good. This looks great to me. Contacted, applied, hired. This looks really, really good. So they're saying this is the version we'll move forward with. Here's the thinking behind what you're seeing. The welcome screen forces the fork early. One tap decides everything downstream. Okay, this is a lot of writing, folks. So one thing I'll do when I'm building apps is I say, give me the TLDR, which means give me the too long didn't read. Ain't nobody got time to be sitting here reading all this. It's too much, right? So I put, give me the TLDR. So this is more like a summary. So let's see what it says. Structure, two-sided one database. A welcome screen forks users into a worker side, as we saw, or an employer side. Core feature, job fee, blah, blah, monetization. Okay, so that's strategy and tag, employer hires page judges. For your 15 hires, post them here. So we're going to post our hires on here, obviously, because that's why we're building this for one reason. So, okay. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to thumb through and kind of get a sense of what we have here. Let's see. So we'll go back to the home. Let's see. I need a back button so I can see the employer and employee side. Am I missing something? Okay, so we're going to take a look back and just get a sense of you're not missing anything. The switch button exists, but they're buried at the bottom, too specific. Okay. Yes, at least now for dev. Okay, so the idea here is when we actually get in there, we're actually working full time in the app. The average person only has one need, right? So the employer typically is just an employer, employee just an employee. But right now, as we develop, it'd be nice to have a button in there so we can go toggle back and forth between both. Let me get you guys back on the screen. So I have them actually adding that button for our dev purposes. So let's take a look and see what comes up next. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to play around a little bit. And while they load that up, let's take a look a little bit more through the job functionality. This is a day labor opportunity, $18 a day. They're telling you where to park. They're telling you the dress code. They tell you the start time. Based off of that, you'll apply your application. And this is something that we have to decide. Are we going to have people have profiles and they just apply based off of their profile? So they go through and, make a lot of quick applications? Or is that going to overwhelm employers? Or are we going to make folks have to give a reason, like almost like a cover letter? Okay, here's why I want to work or that. I think that might help a little bit just to make sure that employers don't get overwhelmed. So that's something that we're thinking about. So someone can go back, see their application, they can keep browsing for other opportunities. They can go to their profile, the ratings, the work history, self-reported. Let's see. So I'm going to scroll down. All right. So here we go. Right now, we have the new prototype being built out. Let's give it a couple seconds so we can see what they've come up with. And for anyone joining in, thanks, welcome, hope you subscribe. What we're doing right now is we're actually building out the day labor marketplace app. The problem that we're having is we have a restaurant business. We are opening up a new location. We have like 15 people that we have to hire right away. The issue that we're running into is that Indeed is charging our business about $150 a day. That's $4,500 a month just to have our sponsored listing promoted so people can see our job opportunities. So we're accelerating, we're building our own app so we can get in front of local hires that much quicker. And we're walking you guys through how we do it. When you have to do it via a profile so you can eventually background check and KYC people, etc. Aiden, that's genius, absolutely. And I'll tell you, we're kind of at a situation right now where we're trying to minimize. So think Craigslist back in the day, right? Craigslist back in the day, employers would post jobs and folks would just go check out a job. What we're trying to make sure is that we don't step into staffing firm territory because, there's regulations that come along with being a staffing firm, having people on payroll, stuff like that. So we're trying to be a connector as much as possible. But you raise a really good point. We have to decide if we're going to be the ones doing the background checks or if we're just literally, uniting the employer with the employee and letting them go through all that. But you raise a really good point because we may need to actually end up facilitating some kind of third party background, even if we are like, hey, here's the background, you guys do it, you show the background, that way you can, do day labor opportunities. So that's a great point. That's something we're actually working through right now. Thank you for bringing it up. Something we're going to keep in mind as we continue to build. But folks, let me get us back here to the screen. Two-sided structure. Here we go. So worker or employer. So we already kind of went through the worker tab. Worker never pays. Employer hires and pays directly. The idea is that, you have supply and demand. You never want to charge the worker. You may not even be able to charge the worker, but you can charge the employer because they're the ones with the money. The worker is seeking employment, so they're looking to make money. It wouldn't really be right to charge the worker. So we're charging the employer. They're the ones that should have the money to bring on a team member. So let's check out the employer side. We have 6 active jobs they have posted and 23 new applicants. So this is kind of what the employer would see. So they have open roles. For instance, they posted a role for line cook full-time. This is a sponsored one, which means they're paying the company or they're paying the app money to be listed above other folks. Monetization is something we'll add in later. Right now, we want core features. That's the biggest thing. So they have another role for dishwasher. This is one they're not sponsoring, they're just posting. So here's the applicant. So for instance, let's see Marcus. Marcus is a new applicant. They have a rating of 4.9 and they have 3 years experience. So we take a look. Okay. We take a look. We look at their experience. All right, we decide we're going to. So this is the employer I'm talking about. The employer decides they're going to call them in or not. And keep in mind, a lot of this is day labor. So they're just trying to get folks in. I'll tell you the current state of day labor right now, at least. When we hire day labor, we hire from two different places. We hire from a nonprofit that literally just says, hey, call these folks, see if you like them, you pay them, all that kind of stuff. Like they literally just make the connection. They don't do anything at all. Or we use a site called InstaWork, where let's say, for instance, we'll pay the folks $20 an hour, but we have to pay InstaWork $30 an hour. They keep, let's say, for instance, $10 for every hour the person works. But then they do all the payroll, all the back end stuff. And that's what we don't want to do. So we're trying to find a happy medium between the nonprofit that we currently use that does absolutely nothing at all. Like literally everything's by phone, not even by the web. And InstaWork, where we pay a handsome 50% or something like that amount. So we're trying to actually create something that's kind of in the middle. And we think if we can have a nice IT tool that we can kind of achieve that. So that's what we're building right now. So these are the basics. So let's say right now an employer looks at, oh yeah, I think Marcus has a good profile. Let's contact. So they'll contact, let's see, you and Marcus can arrange it directly. So the contact is shared. So right now, the way it's been set up, someone clicks the contact shared. But what does that mean, right? So I'd like a little bit more visibility, maybe like a messaging system or something like that. But before we get to that, that's one recommendation we're going to ask the LLM to create. Let's go back and see what this talent pool is all about. Re-invite 8+ workers you've hired before. We have Jasmine, similar situation, contact, a hire. This is decent, but I'll tell you guys what I'd like. Let's see, like that bar. I'm going to reach back out to the LLM. I'm going to say, okay, I like what you've produced, but I'd like a better system around contacting the prospective applicant. So I'm saying, I'm a little confused. How is contact info being shared? I think we need to protect both parties by keeping communication in the app as much as reasonably possible. Let me know your thoughts. Also, do you foresee any concerns? And folks, also, we can do what they call looping. We can actually go through and we can write like one statement that has Claude, loop and go through consistently. Also, I can do voice transcription, like I don't have to type it out, but that's just my personal style. I really don't mind typing, so it helps me feel like a little bit more connected. But let's see the feedback they gave. This is a sharp catch and your instinct is right. We share contact information is the weakest part of the current design for 2 reasons: a privacy problem and quietly undercuts. Why raw contact sharing helps. First, privacy. Second, the part founders missed the moment two parties swap numbers, they leave your platform forever. Platform leakage, what I build instead, in-app messaging. Yeah, we need in-app messaging. Replace the contact shared. Let's see what else. With the built-in message, flow becomes worker applies, employer reviews. All coordination when the rise happens in that thread. The wage still changes hands between them off platform. You facilitate. Now the concern you asked me to flag, and it's important. Here's attention. But you must not start directing the work. That's true. That's a lot. Give me the TLDR always, please. Okay. So I'm asking them to give me the TLDR. Too long didn't read, because Claude can get a little wordy, and ain't nobody got time to be reading all this. The concern to watch. Yeah, see? And folks, this is kind of what we were talking about. As they mentioned, the concern to watch here is that we don't want to become a staffing agency. So we need to provide the message pipe and let the employer and the worker communicate with one another. We don't want to get to a situation where we're sending to arrive at 4, we're black. We want that to come from the employer themselves. So messaging is fine, but the platform has to stay silent on how the job gets done. We must remain neutral, because we don't want to become a staffing firm for the reasons that we stated earlier. Okay. So let's go back. So the question now, and excuse me, folks, getting a little late, so we grinding it out. But the big question now is, Bucks Rush, do you support BLM? Do you support BLM? Elaborate, please. So what we're looking at here is employer initiated for applications and limited. So what we're facing right now is a situation where we're trying to see who starts the conversation. So my initial thoughts here is that we want to have the employer lead the conversation, because the employer is the one that's going to invite folks in. Hey, come on in for this job, or don't come on in for this job. So we're moving in that direction. So I'm going to say, for now, let's go with what your thoughts are here. Like Black Lives Matter, the move, do you support it? Absolutely. I support everybody. I support everybody. I'm black, obviously, right? But this isn't a political place where we're not really getting into politics or movements like that. But I support everybody. And, let's leave it at that. This is an AI chat. We're teaching folks how to build AI. We're not being divisive. I'm not really sure what kind of answer you want. I'm not sure. I guess what I'm saying is we're building AI. I'm confused. But, yeah. Let's see. All right, folks. So right now, let's go with what your thoughts are here. So we have AI building out an employer-initiated application plus limited worker ask a question. We're looking for the most current iteration of what is going to be built with the app. Have you looked into Codex or Chemi? Great question. I'll tell you, initially, we built other apps. Initially, we started with Codex. I've heard a lot about Chemi. I haven't touched Chemi yet, but I heard Chemi K3 is amazing. I'll tell y'all, I haven't dug too deep into it yet, but I heard it in benchmark test, it outperformed Fable 5 for front-end coding, which is crazy. I initially started out with Codex. More recently, I got into Claude Code. Haven't touched Chemi K3 yet, but I will in the future. I definitely will. Let's see what we have here. Okay, folks, let's take a quick look at the current iteration. So the improvement, we're looking at the employer view, and the improvement that has been made is that they added a feature for us to message Marcus. So let's say you're an employer, you like Marcus' profile, you can now message Marcus. Hey Marcus, I saw you apply for the line cook role. You available to start this week? Yes, free Thursday onward. What time should I come by? Come Thursday, 3 p.m., ask for me at the kitchen. So TLDR, contact sharing is gone. Initially, we had it so that employees could share their contact with They can share their contact with the prospective team member. What we've changed now is we've allowed for in-app messaging. So now employers can go through and actually send a message directly to the employee. And the employee can get the message, they can go back and forth. And one big reason why we have to do this is the legal line. Keep in mind, we're being intentional about not building a staffing agency. We're building a day labor marketplace, fake OG Craigslist where you go on and find a job, amongst other things. You go on and find a job, right? That's kind of what we're going for. So now the worker view, the shift detail has applied, plus a limited ask a question. So technically they can ask a question. And maybe we'll add in employer responsiveness so they get an idea of how quickly employers respond back. Let's see. The platform only shows the lock banner. Concerns still live. People try to jump off platform. Defense convenience fast. Next lock all this. Okay, I'm saying this looks good. So this looks good. But would it be better for candidates to get an idea of the responsiveness of employees? And chat, I'll be right back with you if you guys are commenting. I just got to lock in for a second and get this sent through. Responsive of employers, to get an idea of responsive employers. Let me know any other features we are missing here. We want to remain lean, but also day one, we want to have a functional app that is feature rich, still wired for monetization, but that's on the back burner. Because eventually we have to monetize, but right now it's more important that we add value. All right, let's see what we got here. Kimmy 3 is the best. Have you looked in the comments? Kimmy 3 is the best AI at the front end. Bucks, I gotta check it out. A lot of people have been talking about Kimmy 3. I haven't touched it yet. I don't even know if it's open to folks in the US. I'm assuming it is because you mentioned it. Have you touched it yet? And as far as the restaurant, can't talk too much about it right now. We have some existing restaurants, but we have a new opportunity that's kind of on the forefront. I don't want to talk about it just yet until we get a little bit farther into it. But it's going to be a full service restaurant and it's going to be American fare. So right now, I think, well, I don't think I know, we're hiring for a general manager. We're also hiring for line cooks and things like that. And I don't know if you guys are on earlier, but one of the main reasons why we're hiring is because my business partner, he does all the HR stuff. We're paying like $120, $150 a day to get our ads sponsored and pushed ahead on Indeed. That's what? That's $4,500 a month. That's crazy. That's not sustainable. But that's what it costs to actually get your ads in front of people through Indeed. And they have millions of people, but we just can't afford that. We're a small business. And if you guys know, restaurants, we're actually micro businesses. Like, profit margin is not that much. It's more like a labor of love at times, right? We operate in a community, like, we help out the community, employ folks, give folks jobs. So restaurant owners have it tough. So the hope is that we can build something that will enable not only our restaurant, but other restaurants to, post-COVID, stay in business. So that's kind of where we are with that. Yes, Kimmy 3 is available in the United States. I've used it a lot for my front-end work. Bucks, that's cool to hear. What kind of work do you do, if you don't mind me asking? What kind of tools are you using? How are you using AI? All right, folks, and I'm going to go back so we can see where we are. So what we're hearing right now is that Claude recommends, and excuse me if I look tired, y'all. I'm getting a little late, but I go nonstop. I go till 3 o'clock in the morning. I have fun with this. And I'm happy you guys are here and we're kind of locking in together. I really appreciate you guys. I don't take you guys for granted. It's added. It's cheap. So they're saying that we should have it so it shows the responsiveness. So like, okay, an employee was just online an hour ago. That way our customer, the prospective team member, prospective employee knows when the employer was just online. They're saying, and we're always asking for the LLM, the large language model. In this case, we're using Claude. We're always asking them, like, you know, you don't know what you don't know. So we want to know, okay, is there anything that we're missing here? So I'm always going in like every step of the way, what are we missing? So day one, they're saying we have to have auth, sign in, log, and of course we'll have that. Push notifications. We're using React to create, you know, the mobile app and also the web app. So we'll be good with push notifications. Search, filter, sort. So by the pay distance, we're going to have that, of course. Location near me. We'll make sure we have locations near us. We're still trying to decide if we're going to do a soft launch and open up to everywhere at one time. We're going to just start. We're in the DC metropolitan area. See if we're going to open up just in the DC area or not. So that's one thing we're looking for. Report and block. All right. I think I should be back. All right, folks, you guys hear me again? Mic check. Yeah, I think I should be back good. There we go. Welcome back, my friends. All right, folks. Welcome back. I had to get my mic reconnected again. I'm using these it's pretty cool mic, Rode mics, but I got to stay plugged in. And thanks, folks. I just started going live not too long ago, so I apologize if I'm too informal, but we're all friends here. All right, let me go back through, see what we got going on. Own a sportsbook site. Bucks, that's interesting. Sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, sounds like a good time. But let me explain to you guys what we're doing here. So what we're building is a day labor marketplace app. If you guys want to get a little more insight, go check out Building App Part 1, Building App Part 2. That's when we first started talking about the site we're going to build. And I'll tell you guys, it was never my goal to build this type of app. Like, we built other apps for our business, but my business partner does a wonderful job. He does all the HR stuff. And I just noticed a disconnect. Specifically, so I'll give you guys background. We had a couple different locations, restaurant business. One of the biggest challenges that we had is, we always want to have work-life balance for our team members. And one thing we noticed is that, so the way we run our business, because my background's corporate, IT, my business partner is also my brother. His background is construction management, IT procurement. And, when we worked our 9 to 5s, our biggest thing was we want to have a job where we can help our community out. We want to give people work-life balance, ownership. We had a lot of visions. So when we came into the restaurant business and just business in general, our whole thing is people need to work hard, play hard. That's kind of how we go. So the idea is that folks can have off as long as they need, as long as they let us know before the schedule comes out, right? So most, I say 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 people, our team members, that's kind of how they roll and operate, and it works out very well. But what we found is there's always one team member that at the last minute, hey, I don't feel like coming into work. And it's a conflict because it's we got to balance the needs of work-life balance with also making sure we're there for our customer. So, once again, micro business staffing, we can't have so much staff on hand. So what we're finding is if we want to keep our model of of running lean, we need to be able to find folks that can show up if our team members can't show up. People have emergencies. Life has to be lived, right? So we think we can find a happy medium if we have a day labor marketplace site that we're working on building right now. Right now, we have 2 solutions to solve that problem. Well, 3 solutions, right? If someone doesn't show up, we close. We can get fined by the places that we operate in. It's not an answer. The other thing is we have a nonprofit that we go to, and they'll say, hey, we have team members that can come work, just pay them at the end of the day. There's no technology, it's not scalable, and we don't know if people are available. But if they are, we'll pay them at the end of the day. We got to train them, whatever, it is what it is. And there's another site called InstaWork that we recently started using. But let's say, for instance, the pay is $20 an hour. InstaWork charges us $30 an hour. They keep $10. The applicant gets $20 per hour. And then InstaWork does all the background stuff. But right now we're trying to find a happy medium so that at the end of the day, we can have day labor folks come in and we don't have to pay that extra money to InstaWork, but also we have a little bit more flexibility than the nonprofit gives us. So that's what we're working on building right now, because with AI, we can actually make this tool, put it out there, and we can incentivize folks and find a way for it to actually work. So I'll tell you one thing we're thinking about is, I mentioned earlier, we're paying $150 a day for ads, which is mind-boggling. It's driving me crazy. We don't have that money to pay. $4,500 a month to get workers in from Indeed. So the hope is that we can make our own app and we can charge folks, monetize that direction. But what we're thinking is, initially at least, before we monetize, say, hey, prospective employer, we know you may typically pay $18 an hour for day labor, pay $20 to $25 or $20 to $22. We won't charge you for sponsored ads. We'll sponsor your ad, we'll boost it. And that's a value add for prospective team members that are looking for work. So now they're joining our site hey, we're going to join the site because they're paying $20 an hour, but Indeed, they're only paying $18 an hour. So we're trying different things, but the hope is that we at least can, fulfill some of the demand of our micro business without having to overpay money that we don't have. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're trying to do here. Let's get back to, let's see what Claude's talking about. TLDR, security architecture. And folks, one reason why we're pushing so hard on the security architecture specifically is because when it comes to vibe coded apps, there's a couple things. Like if anyone's ever vibe coded an app or coded in general, there's something called environmental variables. And if folks have access to that, then for instance, things like API calls, like, they can drain your account. But there's also other things like RLS, row level security. So within databases, what's the best way I could describe this? I want to keep this as non-technical as possible. Within databases, there's different ways people can exploit it. And if they have one piece of information, they can go in. So let's say, for instance, we don't have row level security enabled. Someone could go into the database for everyone in Baltimore. That's one of the cities we operate in. And based off of that, they can see other privileged information if you don't lock it down. If that makes any sense, I'll explain more when we get to that part of the coding. We're making this just for fun in the test, or do you actually want it to become something? Bucks, I'll tell you, thank you. We want this to become something. Everything we work on, we want it to become. But right now, I'll tell you, monetization isn't the biggest thing in the world. We really need this to solve our business's problem. So like tomorrow, if we have this and it's working, I save my business $100 a day. So like that's real life savings. So like a lot of the vibe coding, a lot of coding people are doing, it is based off fun and having a good time. And don't get me wrong, I love doing this. I love having fun. I love chatting. But right now I'm on the East Coast. It is 11:11 at night, and we're up here vibing, and we're making this app. Not doing it for fun. I'm having fun doing it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm doing it because restaurant businesses, my restaurant business included, but restaurant businesses in general, we really need this to save money. But thank you. It's great to hear you think it's a good idea. But I'll tell you guys also, one reason why we're doing this is I love to teach. I'm not gonna lie. I absolutely love to teach. I love to interact with folks. Thanks, Aiden. Yeah, we're trying to solve our own problems. I love to teach. I love to interact with folks. I would do this for free. I am doing it for free. But the main reason why I'm doing this is because running a restaurant business is hard, man. I'll tell you straight up. Like, we have long days, long nights. My team works crazy, We're killing ourselves. Like, restaurants, we kill ourselves. We don't make a lot of money. And I'll tell you guys, we get it from all angles, because if we're overstaffed, the team has an easier day. If we're overstaffed, team has an easier day, but we don't make any money. If we're understaffed, we risk closing. We get fined by the locations that we operate in. But even more than that, our team members, if they're working with less people, they have a harder day. And quite honestly, it's a delicate balance, because it's very hard to forecast and know how many people you need. You only have one person. Now customers want things. You can't give them everything they want because one person can't do but so much. So you got to find a delicate balance. So one reason why we're making this app is it's going to help us find that delicate balance. Morning time comes, we only have one person on site. We throw something on this day labor marketplace app. Say, hey guys, we need someone here from 10 to 4. It's 8 o'clock. Boom. They're there from 10 to 4. Our team member helps with them with the training. We live to see another day. So like I said, a lot of times the restaurants, it's, like I said, it's a labor of love. A lot of people are not getting rich off restaurants, folks. Like, it seems like we are, but we're not. Like, the numbers come in. Restaurant may make a couple $1,000s a day on a good day, right? But at the end of the day, the average restaurant may make 3% profit margin, between 3 and 10%, 20% if you're crushing it. But, theft, waste, food costs, rising food costs. There's so many variables that make it hard to run a restaurant. So we're hoping that this is just one thing that'll help out restaurant owners a lot more. I didn't even get into Google ads, Facebook ads, promotions. like I said, I'm not whining, I'm not complaining. We're out here just trying to solve the problem and make it better for us all. But yeah, I'm happy that you guys are locked in. Let's lock back in. Let's see what they're talking about for the security architecture. Don't build this yourself. Okay, so DDoS attacks are distributed denial of service attack. It's when someone goes in from multiple IP addresses and they send a lot of traffic towards your site and it slows down and it kind of clogs what you're doing. No one's doing that to a small site, but as you grow, you have to worry about it. But there's sites, as they mentioned here, like Cloudflare, that kind of do that in the background. And AWS, they protect you from it. We're not going to think about that. That's a problem that you worry about as you get closer to it. But we do have to worry about stuff like CAPTCHA, I think, because at the end of the day, you know, there are some nefarious folks that have bad intentions that will go on and create a lot of crazy amounts of, you know, crazy amounts of, what do you call it, crazy amounts of user accounts. We're not worried about that right now. Like, you know, we're still small time. We're not too worried about it. But when you're building out your site, as I hope you guys are building sites right now, that is something that you want to think about as you build. So like if you'll notice, as I talk to whatever LLM I'm using right now, I'm using Claude Code, I'm going to say, hey, let's wire in these things so when we need it, if we don't activate, let's have it there. That way we don't get like day 100 and we're going back, oh, we didn't architect this in. So always thinking for the future. So let's see. It's a lot of stuff. Oh my gosh, TLDR. They're talking too much. All right, let's see what we have here. In chat, I'll be right back with you. I'm looking at what they gave us so far. Trust features ask for responsive reliability, rate each other loop. Okay, so it shows the typical response time, 2 hours, response rate. And believe it or not, this is very important because let's say you're sitting at home, right? Let's say you're sitting at home and you're waiting for this job you've been waiting for forever. And you're like, okay, it's day labor. So that's real time. So you're like, oh my God, I want to work. It's 8 o'clock. The job starts at 10. Are they going to get back to me or not? Have they found another candidate? You want to know the responsiveness of the prospective employer so you know if you're being ignored or not. So now that we talk about that a little bit more, is there something else we can have to give more surety to prospective applicants? So is there a way, is there an ACK, A-C-K, is there an acknowledgement that employer can do? Like, okay, whether they're hiring a person or not, they acknowledge whether they saw it. I don't know. Let's see. Employer profile, what works, reply time, candidate, reliability, everything else is self-generated. Want me to now consolidate everything? I'm going to say, not yet. Is there some way that employers can acknowledge that they have seen or are reviewing to add value to the candidate so they aren't waiting aimless? Or is there a way where there is a hear back from time that candidates can go off of? Would love to hear your thoughts. And I'm gonna tell you guys, I did a little background acting at one point, and one thing about background acting is, oh, and I'm sorry, let me share my screen so you guys see it. All right, so one thing about background acting is that, you know, there's a call time, right? And you need to know especially if you're doing background, you need to know more sooner or later if you're selected for an opportunity. So that's what we're trying to build in here. We want to do little small things. We want to figure out exactly what we can do to make this that much easier for both parties. We want to try to foresee as much as we can so that we aren't building stuff day 2, day 3. You're always going to be building more stuff. We want to minimize as much as possible the stuff that we have to build as we go forward. So want to get ahead of it. All right, let's see. You have a good idea, but to get it deployable, you'll have to get a program eventually. That's if you're not one. Buck, so I'll tell you, my background is IT. I originally was not a developer. But I've been developing for like the past year. I started out as a vibe coder, and I think I kind of transitioned more into AI development. So how I kind of got started is I just grinded away. I was doing 18 hours a day, and I learned about software development as I was going through vibe coding, and ended up building a couple apps that our business uses right now. So I feel like I'm kind of at developer level, maybe a little bit more than junior, but I think I'm kind of at least at the basic level. But to your point, after it kind of gets some traction, gets users on, I definitely would get a developer in place, because I can't go but so far. Like, I do a lot of other things with my day job, and I really can't devote but so much time to it. But I think I can build enough, like, to architect to that level. But to your point, as it becomes a little bit more complicated of a build, I definitely would bring in another programmer, another developer. But yeah, so let's take a look real fast and see what they're talking about. The number one complaints: the black hole, set expectations of real data, auto expires so nothing rots. Let's see, post a window, raw scene, read receipts on application. None of it directs to work, stay safe. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, folks, but our big thing here is not becoming a staffing agency, because once we become a staffing agency, we kind of put ourselves into the realm of some level of liability. We want to be just like Craigslist, in the sense where we just post jobs, or like, I guess maybe Facebook Marketplace is probably a better example nowadays, where we're just kind of like a go-between. We don't want to get to the point where we're directing the work and, hey, how come this person didn't show up? Just putting people in place to talk to one another. And maybe Aiden or Bucks, maybe you guys mentioned earlier, maybe have a light situation where maybe we flow people through, almost like an Uber, in a sense, where like background checks are done. But we don't ever want to get too deep into the work, unless we do become a staffing agency, which we're not against. It's just right now, the biggest issue that we have is, it's my business partner and I, we don't have a lot of layers of management. So we want to stay as lean as possible, at least in the beginning. So I'm going to say, yeah, let's mock up all that we have discussed. Do a quick audit and identify anything we have missed for a day one launch, including possible edge cases. And folks, I'll tell you, the reason why I prompt them to include possible edge cases is because the biggest thing as we're developing our apps is, 95% of the time everything goes right? But that 5% of the time, there's edge cases, things you're not expecting to happen. And that's what we want to always program for, to make sure that we're thinking about. So just something I like to do when I'm developing, to make sure that we're getting the best MVP, minimum viable product out that we can. But our ultimate goal here is get some users, get some local folks looking for jobs, get some employers, and we'll build and patch and fix things around it. But we want to get as much in place as we can. Okay. So TLDR, day one launch audit. What's missing plus edge cases? Missing essential, often onboarding notifications, consent at sign up, manager listing, edge cases, no show flagging, the dispute path, wasn't paid. Wasn't paid is a big thing, because we don't want to interfere with that. But if someone says they weren't paid, we have to do something within the app to protect future folks. And that's where it can get tricky, and we got to figure out how we deal with stuff like that. Like, is there third-party arbitration? Do we get involved with that at all? So what we're going to do day one, we're going to have Claude go through and outline everything. And if we get to the point where we think there could be some legal ambiguity, we'll have a lawyer take a look at it before we go live, or we'll figure things out as we go. But we're always assessing the risk versus the reward. And right now, we're going to start off small and kind of see where it goes from there. You can make a business reputation score. I love that idea, Aiden. I know right now we have that kind of built in, but I think we will make it more robust. Let's see. So if someone doesn't pay, just marks it yes. Aiden, that's genius thinking. And let's see. So right now, we had that included in the initial. Let's see if we have it. 2 applications waiting. So right now, we definitely have it for the team members. Let's see if we have it for the employer as well. If not, we have to add it. That's a great idea. Let me add that in because I don't see where they've added it in yet. Thank you, Aiden. Appreciate that. Let's see. The loop is now closed. Worker application show. Let's see. Do we have a business reputation score added in yet? I know we mentioned it, but I don't see it. I know we mentioned it in video 1 in earlier iterations, but I don't see it. Is it hidden? All right, so we'll let them come back with that. But in the meantime, let's take a look through and see what we have so far. So from the worker perspective, we have job under review, shortlisted, or a role filled. It's great if we see the role filled. That way we know it's not something that folks still have to focus on. Looking for, give me 1 second, I'm back. All right, under review. So apply, under review, employer tab reviewing, decision, shortlist, hire, or pass. So we have it so that the team member can also withdraw the application. So that's great. Employer, they're marking as reviewing so that they know, okay, we're reviewing. No promise of reviewing. They can message if they want more information, more clarity. So that's good. Let's see. No, it's not hidden. You remember correctly, but it was never built. Okay. So Aiden, thank you for that. We mentioned it earlier, but they never built in the score. What exists is ingredient reputation shown. So the answer is we have reputation panel, not reputation score. If you want a single sided figure, that's a small, clean ad. What should you call it? Build 2 ways to do it. So I'm going to ask them, say, give me a recommendation. Give me your recommendation on how you think it should be built. Show us the most recent app. All right, folks. So the app is coming along well. At this point, we want something nice, clean, and lean that doesn't have a lot of errors on day 1. So that's what we're going through now. We're cycling through to make sure that we have everything built in so we're not going back, rebuilding and building. Okay, so they just kind of gave a little clarity of how they think they'll build out the different features. Let's see what they come up with. All right. Oh, let me go back to the screen. There we go. Sorry, guys. All right. And thank you, Aiden. Really appreciate that reminder. All right. Let's see what we have here. So based on a quick look here, let's say we have Harbor Bistro. That's our sample employer. They have a rating of 92 out of 100. Pays on time, response rate, reply speed, worker ratings. So it kind of gives us an idea of if this is a good place that folks want to kind of work at or not. And this is an employer looking at their own profile. Let's look at the worker view. Excuse me. So this is for the reputation of the employer of the worker, no-show record. And I think no-show is going to be a major, major thing, because if we have folks doing no-shows, that is going to rate really, really, bad on team members. So the question now becomes, how do we have a team member that doesn't just make another S? So let's say they did 5 no-shows, their profile is pretty bad. How do we keep them from just making another login, right? How they pay, like bank transfer. Bucks, I'll tell you, that's an excellent idea. The only issue with that, and I love the idea, let me run it past Claude real fast. The reason why we're trying to prohibit that is we don't want to have it for legal liability purpose. We don't want to have it where a situation where we're seen as being part of the employment process. We just want to be like almost like a, not really a referral, but like a, hey, parties can come here and they can find the other party. But let me ask, quick question. If we add a feature like bank transfer, Cash App, etc., are we at risk of getting legal liability like staffing, or are we in the clear? So Bucks, I'll tell you, thank you so much. Happy to have you here. That's a great question. But we got to see, because we want to remain as lean as possible. We don't want to, a lot of different states have different regulation around staffing, employment. It's a highly regulated thing. So we want to make sure we stay clear of that to remain lean as possible. So let's see. It depends on how, not legal advice, dangerous version. So they're saying avoid money flows through us. So if we're like giving away wages and stuff like that, we got to avoid it. The cleaner version is if we never touch, and this is probably what you're talking about, we never touch the funds. If the employer pays the worker directly, you merely surface a payment handle, show the worker's Cash App or deep link out. Okay. You hold no money, take no fee. It weakens the cleanest legal line. Right now, we never touch. My own recommendation for day one. Okay. So Bucks, I think that's an amazing recommendation. They're saying day one, don't build the payments in. So I think right now we may stay away from it until we get a little more traction. But it sounds like displaying and linking can keep us clear as long as we don't hold and route. So I'm going to say, is there a way we can display, and will that be a value add without getting us into the gray area? If we can, let's do it. All right. So Bucks, yeah, I appreciate that. If we can, we're going to do it. And so are you thinking that maybe if we add like the Cash App, it'll help because they can like make a request for the money? Or are you thinking about, like you said, pretty much have the money come from our escrow or something like that? Is everybody at the trick? Display the payment method, never the money or the account. The method employer pays. Oh, okay. Excellent. Thanks, Bucks. Yeah, so we'll add in so that they're aware, so the person going for the job knows, okay, this person pays through Cash App, they pay through Zelle, they pay through Venmo. Thank you. That's a very good value add. So even though we can't actually facilitate the payment, we can show how the folks pay. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have now. Excellent. So we're viewing as what the workers see. So the workers see a dishwasher for the dinner rush, $18 an hour, Harvard Bistro. When you'll be paid, same day, end of shift. How you be paid, cash or cash app. Shift never processes payments. You're paid directly by the employer. Excellent. Thank you for that. So that's a good way. That's a major value add. Because I'll tell you, even in our line of business, a lot of times we'll have folks that they won't be able to be paid except for Zelle or maybe Cash App or Venmo. So that is a great value add. So folks now know how they can be paid. So we got that added in. So let's see right here. Let's see. So let's see. We're going to go through one last time before. So the idea here is that we're going to create a spec document. It kind of outlines everything that we're building in to the app. But first, we want to make sure we have a pretty decent day one before we build out the spec document. So we're going to go back, and usually I like to sleep on things. You know, we'll build across a couple different iterations, a couple different of these videos. Let's go back. So employer post a shift, same day, end of shift within 24 hours. They're itemizing how they're going to pay, or, you know, same day, end of shift within 24 hours. You know, how will they pay? They'll pick all the different ways they can pay. They'll, let's see. Click continue. Let's have them give us the full working. Before we add anything to the spec doc, please give us the full working app prototype that we can look through before we begin any coding. Excellent. Let me get you guys back on here. So right now we have them giving us the full app prototype that we can look through before we begin any coding. And I'll tell you guys, excuse me, typically I prefer to sit on it, sleep on it, think about things for a couple different days before building. Because what I found is that the building goes really fast, but we could end up troubleshooting for days if we don't have everything ironed out, all the edge cases and stuff. So we'd rather spend more time architecting and prototyping than actually coding. The coding goes really fast from what I found. This is the one to assemble everything into a single self-contained prototype. You click through end to end and hand it to whoever builds. Let me build it a standalone. Reading done. I'll build in a green worker Navy employer system we've established. Assembling the complete prototype now. Every screen, both sides, all the flows wired together in one self-contained file. So we're getting closer to the final product. The big thing we want to do now is, once again, like I said, iterations, go through many, many times. And this is just a personal thought. What I've found, I think, that makes apps good is something simple, like very, very simple, very straightforward. And then, like I said, once again, personal opinion, I think the marketing of it does, the distribution. So like with AI, a lot of people can build, but, you know, do folks have the distribution? Is it a problem that they have to solve themselves? So like right now, folks, we're building in public. You know, people can just take the idea, run with it, and that's fine. Because it's not so much the idea as much as it is the distribution, the passion behind it, how we lay it out, and if it's actually solving a real world problem that we have, right? I say that to say, this is something that we need, like, direly. Like I said, like, we're spending $100+ a day, and it pains me because I'm like, I feel like $100 a day should be spent in marketing, right? Facebook, Google, maybe in training, so our people can, you know, sell better or do their job more efficiently and more effectively. But spending $100 a day to Indeed, it disgusts me. Like, oh, my business partner told me that. I'm like, what? Are you serious? like I said earlier, $150 a day, that's $4,500 a month. We're a micro business, we don't have it. So our big thing now is just getting something out there that we can use, and something that works well. So let's see what prototype Claude came up with. Let's take a look at it, and let's see how beneficial it's going to be for our use case. So it's creating the file. We're going to give it a few seconds. But yeah, folks, in the meantime, how are you guys doing tonight? You guys, is anyone building anything? Are you guys building apps? How'd you find out about this channel? What brought you here? Have you guys looked at our video number 1 and video number 2 of Build an App, where we first were talking about the problem, and we kind of architected how we thought it should be initially. And, you know, right now, like a lot of times after video 1 or video 2, we would have went straight into the prototype MVP development. But as I built other apps, I kind of learned that you can never plan too much, y'all. Like at the end of the day, the architecture means so much. Like I'll give you guys an example. I built a fitness app, and I also built a OCR app that we can see if there's errors in the food going out for our business, right? And I'll tell you, the lead up to the app was probably maybe 2 or 3 hours of planning. No lie, yo, I'm not even exaggerating. I spent 300 plus hours building out that fitness app. I'm still building it because, well, the fitness app is a whole nother story. I'll tell y'all, we started out as a food discovery app until we realized there's not a lot of money in food discovery. It's kind of like you know, DoorDash, Uber Eats. It's a lot of expenses, and you know, you can make money. I think they may be profitable now, but it takes years. And we realized that, you know, the funnel to get people, like, I could talk about it all day long, but long story short, we changed that app a number of times. Like we have really, really cool features, but folks need something that's very much a utility in a sense. So I'll get back to that in a second. But let's see. Right, let's see. Aiden, also, wouldn't you get way further with 150 running Google ads with this compared to Indeed? Because if you said you're targeting hiring 15 people, the CPA cost of 400 would be crazy. You know what, Aiden, you're making a really, really good point. And I'll tell you, that's where our company is interested, because like I do more of the marketing stuff. My business partner does more of the HR stuff. So he does a lot of the Indeed, you know, his lane is like, okay, he's hyper focused on Indeed stuff, and I'm hyper focused on ads. So you're totally right. And I think what he's seeing is, okay, we have these great ads up, we have these great listings, and he's already in Indeed. He's trying to direct people there. But I think you make a very, very good point, Aiden. If we could leverage the Google ads to actually go through and, you know, target our Indeed ads, it probably would be a lot better use case. But I think what he was telling me when I asked him about it, he said he's planning to do the Google ads for, the Indeed ads for like a day or two, just kind of jumpstart, get some people's eyes on it. Then he'll stop it. So even though $4,500 is how much it'll be for a month, I think he said he's probably planning to only do a couple days of it. So yeah. But let's go back to the screen once again. Okay, here's our interactive prototype. So let me see if I can move this off the screen a little bit. Let's see if I can move. All right, I'm going to just show you guys the whole screen for a second. There we go. So here's the prototype for the app. We're viewing it now as the worker. So assuming that we're the worker here, let me scroll down a little bit. So right now, the hypothetical name of the app is Shift. So we'll start out as the worker. I'm looking for work, or I'm hiring. So I'm looking for work. So folks are looking for work. It'll say, okay, there's 3 active applications that we have, and our rating is a 4.8. So they'll show the top job picks, and this is going to be the featured or sponsored listing. And it will show, or we can do, see all different shifts. Let's see. And I guess the way they have it lined up here, at least for now, is our communication with Harbor Bistro is the pay cash or credit, cash paid at the end of the shift. I'm trying to see why they have it arranged this way where it's just a running screen. Because I felt like messages would be like in its own screen. Applications in its own screen. It's interesting because it's kind of like a running screen. I just wasn't expecting that. So we have our profile. I need to ask, let's see, let's go to employer for a second. It looks like we're kind of seeing errors a little bit. I want to see what's going on here. Dashboard. Let me ask, let's see. It looks like the screens are all running together. Is this intentional or is it just a HTML flaw in the prototype? All right, so while we get some clarity around that, we're going to go back here and get a sense of what's what. So we see the number of applicants. Like, this is very confusing to me. I would rather see it so we click here, we see different things, as opposed to everything just running all together. But we're going to get some clarity around what's going on from Claude. It's a flaw in the prototype now. Oh, okay, good catch. All right, so we got Claude fixing it. All right, folks, I'm back. So, yeah, we got Claude fixing it. Once again, Aiden, Bucks, thank you guys for all your input. It makes it that much more fun as we go through this as a community. Folks that don't know, we are the Global AI Day, Global AI community. A lot of what we're doing is we're trying to teach basic AI concepts. So one thing you'll see from the community is we're going through building out apps with the hope and goal that other folks are also building alongside their own apps at the same time. But not only that, we're trying to stay up to date on things as it relates to AI, like AI policy regulation. We advocate with local, state level, also federal level folks as it relates to business initiatives, access to affordable capital, workforce development, government contracting, and now AI regulation. We're looking into things such as data centers. I'm learning more about data center AI as it relates to data centers and things like water usage. Environmental things are not my background, but I'm educating myself on it. We're trying to stay up to speed with things like certification. If you look at our videos, we have a Nebius certification where we see that the Nebius Academy is sponsoring folks. For $1, you can get different certifications. If folks are in technology, there's certification for things like Cisco where folks make six figures. I believe that Nebius, or understanding Nebius is going to allow folks to get extended opportunities for certification, which leads to jobs. So we're doing things like that. Also trying to stay up to date with different LLMs, large language models, like someone mentioned Kimi K3 earlier. We already know about things like Opus and Fable, which is built on the Mythos architecture. OpenAI has their product ChatGPT. But overall, it's not a community where we're trying to be know-it-alls because we don't know it all. But I think the idea is that everyone kind of comes together, shares what they know, we learn. A lot of this started with, me and some other folks feeling like AI is not going anywhere and we don't want to be left behind. So a lot of what we're doing is just making sure that we stay up to speed and we get other folks up to speed, specifically in developing countries. I know we have a lot of folks that join us from Southeast Asia, from India, from South America, and also from continental stateside US. But yeah, so this used to be a crypto and stocks channel. One thing I do enjoy is learning more about crypto and stocks. But more recently, we changed it to an AI channel because, just to be frank and be honest with you guys, AI is the future. And I think it kind of encompasses things like equities, stocks and crypto and stuff like that. But AI is it's major. It's major and it's changing every aspect of people's lives. On a personal level, on a business level, on a corporate level. AI is here to stay. We talk about different things like, AI efficiency and should there be AI departments within workplaces. So let's say hypothetically there's an AI department and the goal is that AI is going to be tracked, like let's say HR and all this kind of stuff. We can go into that. We go into that in some of our videos. I'm not going to elaborate because we're here to build an app. So I hope I'm not boring you guys with my side chat. Let me get back to what we're here talking about, which is building out this app. Sorry for the segue. I can go off all day. But so they fixed it. So here, let's quickly go through it. Worker, employer. Worker, 3 active shifts, 4.8 rating. Top picks, shows a local job, shows how folks are being paid, shows when they're being paid, show about the parking, the dress code, all this kind of stuff. You can ask a question. Those are frequently asked questions, or you can write your own question. Or, let's go back here. You can apply for the shift, send an application, or keep browsing. You see your application under review shortlisted. So I think right now the two things I want to know is where is the application generated for the worker? Is it a set profile or is it specific to the job? Also, in my area, there are a lot of applicants where English is not the first language. How do we make this app one where it translates into other languages and is that an easy build? So while they do that, I'm gonna go thumb through right now and take another look. Post a new job, day shift. Okay, so I'm saying, can we add in Spanish and what other languages do we need to add day one? That's one thing. All right, so I think it's very important because we have a lot of Spanish speakers in our area, and it's important that they have equal access to this app. So we're gonna make sure we add in Spanish from day one. I'm asking what other languages, maybe French. I know we have some folks that do speak French. And I'm also going to say day shift is confusing. How do we denote day labor properly? So once again, folks, that's why we're going through time and time again. We want this app to be solid on day one. So as I mentioned, we're definitely going through making more iterations. And folks, if you haven't already, check out Build an App video part 1 and video part 2 to get an understanding of how we kind of got to where we are right now. We're iterating through. We want to make a more solid app. We could build right now. I think we have a decent app, but it's not about decent. I don't want to spend hours and hours troubleshooting and decoding edge cases and things we forgot to add. So I think it's better we put the time in now. And one thing I'll tell you guys also, if you guys haven't built with using Claude Code yet, the biggest thing is that Claude Code will act like they're going to add certain features and they won't add it. And I think this is a hallucination that happens in a lot of large language model front-end coding, that they'll say they're including stuff that they're not including. And you'll look and you're like, hold up, we had that in the spec sheet. So let's see. English and Spanish. I feel like we need to add on French, but I could be wrong. We have metros. Set out the they want even shipping on 2 languages. I'll be honest with you guys. In the US, we're a very diverse place. I think day one, we need to have all the languages loaded in as much as possible. So I'm going to say, how difficult would it be to add in all or most languages? And how clean would it be? All right, folks, while that adds, I'll be right back. I need to grab a drink while that loads up for us. All right, let's see what we got. I love sparkling water, by the way. That's a very random thing. All right, folks, I'm back. Ouch. There we go. All right, folks. 2 layers, behavior skills, all languages almost free, the others with a real world quality rest live. Okay, what we're trying to do now is we're trying to add in all languages. I know specifically there's a lot of Spanish speakers in my area, so definitely cannot have an app that does not cater to the Spanish speaking folks. But I'm also looking to see, we have some French speakers and other languages as well. So I want to be mindful of that from day one. Turn on auto translate. Okay. That's good. Now, how about if a employer is messaging an employee or vice versa, is there translation in play? Let's see what they got to say. Okay. So kind of like if you guys have ever seen DoorDash, you know how like if you're DoorDash to someone and maybe someone speaks another language, it automatically translates it for you. It's looking like that's what we're trying to have happen in this app, and I think it'll be a value add. But one thing to keep in mind, I think one thing we have to think about also is it's good if it happens in the app, but how do we deal with the situation? Let's use Spanish as an example. Let's say an employer is talking to a prospective employee and maybe they're Spanish speaking only or primarily. So we're all good in the app, but when that person shows up, do they need to be able to speak English, or is it okay if they're only Spanish speaking, or any language? Is that something that we need to put into the app? Like, is there a requirement? Then that gets into questions. It's a lot of questions that come into play. So I think that's something that we'll navigate as we go. But by us just being a connector, hopefully that's something they'll identify themselves, because the employer may be able to make accommodations for folks that don't have English as a first language. But that's something that we'll learn as we go. Like a lot of times in business, like you kind of figure things out as you go. I think that's going to be one of those things. Let's see. Okay, so Aiden said you could just probably have that as a selection profile if you make people do individual profiles, or just have on a business profile thing saying they need to speak. I love it. Thank you, Aiden. Let me put that in for consideration in the app. Can we just have it so the employer can specify if someone needs to or are proficient in certain languages? That way there are no surprises. Thanks, Aiden. Appreciate that one. That's really good thinking. All right, let's take a look through translate. Okay, so kind of like how DoorDash does. You can see the original. You can see the messages auto translate to English. Okay. Oops, sorry, folks. I keep forgetting to go back to the screen. Okay, now here's the only issue. Blanket language requirements in hiring can raise national origin discrimination concerns that they're not generally tied to the job. So the framing matters. let's see. Okay, excellent. So here's a pretty important distinction here. And I think this makes sense. So that we're not running the situations with EEOC, equal employment, as far as folks' place or origin, we're only going to have it so that English is marked as required. And we have a little note here that says only mark required if the job truly needs it. For instance, if someone's answering the phone, then they got to be able to speak English. But if they're just doing other tasks that don't require, the use of English, then they can still be hired for the opportunity, which is awesome. So I'll say excellent. I think we did a lot of work tonight, so I'm going to say excellent before we consolidate into the spec doc. Can you go over all the improvements we have made today and anything that we may be missing for a solid day one launch? All right, folks, it's been almost 2 hours. We locked in. We made a lot of strides today. All right, while we wait for that to load, I'll be right back. All right, folks. Had to take a quick break. Now I am back like I never left. All right, so TLDR, everything we did today, strategy position, we locked in the model. A neutral marketplace, not a staffing agency. 3 rules: never employ or pay the worker, never charge the worker, stay a pure connector. Anchored on the employer, urgent pays. Core problem is speed plus reliability of filling a role. Core product is a job feed with pay and pay timing up front. Featured boosted listings, adaptive detail pages, fast post form, 2-way ratings, fixed terminology, single shift, part-time or full-time. Was a confusing day shift with time of day demoted to a filter. Scope expansion from day labor to all hiring. We mentioned the reason why we're doing that is because of our specific business need. Job type layer, multi-open and post. Hiring 5, screening questions. Talent pool, job alerts, 2-side structure. Welcome for distinct worker. Green opportunity in employers, Navy cockpit. Apps, separate navs. Monetization lives only on the employer side. Structurally enforces never charge the worker. Connection and trust, replace context sharing with in-app messaging. Privacy, trust layer, reputation score. Application items, payments, display only, security, language, deliverables, still missing, often onboarding, notifications, search settings, consented sign up, empty, error, offline, manual, no flags, wasn't paid flag, completion trigger, age, labor, decisions, learn review for launch, work classification. Okay, here's what I want to add in. Can we strip any items that would involve a lawyer review? And this is so we can just get running a lot quicker. On top of that, we're going to say, how about a refer a friend for folks browsing that want to refer a friend? Also, what else? Also, we want to I forgot. I'm losing my train of thought. All right, strip items involve lawyer review. How about refer a friend for folks browsing that want to refer a friend? Also, we want to, that's right, add in any of the items that you mentioned above that are not added in. Duh, how come they're not added in? Then, after approval, we can update the spec sheet. And folks, after they add in everything, I think we'll call it a night. We'll have a strong working document. We'll sleep on it, and then we'll proceed. Came a little late. All right, so what we want to do now is we want to see what items will require a lawyer's review. That's probably gray area items. So I think it'd be good to kind of scratch those off at an MVP. That way we're not slowed down. We're not putting out money before we're making money. And we can really have a lean solution that hopefully we can just bring to market and just start using for ourselves. And we'll kind of work our way into, more gray area things. So that is the hope. But as I mentioned before, we'll see. I think we did some really great work tonight. Thanks, Bucks. Thank Aiden for all the contributions. It really means a lot. Let's see. So stripping away the lawyer review items to let your launch without payment method display comes back post review as a fast follow. That wasn't paid. Flag states employer set language requirements parked. Okay, so the two things they're asking that we strip now are the payment method display. Only reason why it sounds like their recommendation, that's the recommendation, is so we don't want to run into a situation where folks say, hey, you said we would be paid for this, we weren't paid this way. We don't want to end up in arbitration and having to, help folks work through situations. And employer set language requirements, requiring things around language can get into country of origin issues, and it can become an equal employment opportunity, EEOC issue, which we don't want to deal with when we're trying to move fast. Let's see. Got to have an agree to terms. We're going to make sure we have agree to terms. That way, what we're doing becomes official. Refer a friend. We're not giving any kind of cash rewards or bonuses right now. It's purely just for folks, helping folks out. That'll keep us from having to get lawyer review early on as well. Invite friends, both get a boost. When a friend completes their first shift, you get a 7-day priority boost. Okay. So I guess the idea here is that we're going to boost people's profile from an employee perspective as well. So we'll allow folks to share via text, WhatsApp, or invite, and we'll show the referrals and we'll show when they've been boosted. So that's awesome. Share a shift. Know someone perfect for the job. Once again, we're doing sharing again. Employee refer another business. When they post their first job, you both get a free month of Pro, whatever Pro is. We'll figure that out at a later date. But this is good because this is what helps an app to kind of go viral and folks to learn about it. So folks will share with their friends, which is great. Excellent. So I'll put yes, we approve of the changes. Let's update the spec doc. And folks, what we'll do next time we lock in, we'll get Claude to run through the doc, make sure everything good. And what I'll probably do is probably go to a whole nother LLM, like maybe we'll go to Grok, or we'll run past everything we did here with another LLM, with the understanding that maybe there's some things that we didn't see that they caught on and things like that. So always want to run it past other LLMs as much as possible. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have them give us the final spec doc. We have the prototype. We worked through, things looked proper. I think we made a lot of progress today. Let's see, because how everything's uploaded build spec now. Excuse me. We made a lot of progress today. I think we've taken this app to the next level. If folks have not already, check out the video for build 1 to build 2. I think we got some solid work done, but I think we have even more solid work done. This is video number 3. We did it all live, and I think we're in a good position. I think we could start building right now. And what building means, we go into React, we set up the GitHub, we deploy the Vercel. I think we could build right now, but my initial thoughts are maybe we'll do another quick session. I think this session has been over 2 hours. But maybe the next session we'll do will be maybe like 15, 20 minute, just make sure we've outlined everything we got to outline, get some extra set of eyes on it. That way, when we actually start the build, we've made a lot of headway. So we've been doing a lot of, I probably went live for the past 3 weeks talking about this build, trying to build a little community. But today I think we actually locked in and we kind of stopped all the talk. We actually locked in and got it done. So the spec is outlined here. We have the build spec and we have the prototype, and we'll pick up more on it. I'm going to put together a website. Well, actually we'll do that after we build on Vercel. That way we can actually go in and we can tinker around and folks can try things and we come up with, other improvements that we want. But for now, yeah, so this is the site and definitely making a lot of headwind. Things are going well, folks. But all right, my friends, it's been a wonderful session. I think we've been locked in for about 2 hours. I'm going to go ahead and post this so it's an actual video. I'll post it as video number 3. That way, folks can follow along and we can kind of see, follow the progress. But yeah, folks, it's getting a little bit late. I'm getting a little groggy. I want to thank you guys for locking in. I think this is the longest video we've ever done. For folks just tuning in, we are making a day labor marketplace app. And the idea is that we want to be able to go around places like Indeed or InstaWork and find job opportunities for small business owners, hospitality specifically, where folks can go on and get day labor opportunities right away. So we're chug-a-lugging and we're doing AI to assist us. We call it AI assisted development. Some folks call it vibe coding. I think we're a little bit step above that. But we're coming together as a community and we're building and we're having a great time. So folks, I thank you guys for being here. Hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and let's try to do this again one day soon. Thanks, Bucks. Thanks, Aiden, and thanks everyone else for stopping in. Really appreciate you guys.